Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to video number 2. In this video, we're going to get down into some of the nitty-gritty on adapting into ketosis. And this is the thing that most people are scared of. And the reason why they're scared of it is because they hear about this thing called the keto flu. And that's basically when your body is transitioning from burning glucose for fuel to burning ketones for fuel. It's got to go through this adaptation phase. So while it's doing that, your brain tends to be a little bit low on fuel. You can get a headache, you can feel tired, you can feel fatigued. And it happens for a few different reasons, right? So there's that switching of fuels that goes on, but it's also because your body starts to push water out very rapidly. So this can throw off your electrolyte balance. And one of the big mistakes that people make when they get into the ketogenic diet is that, one, they don't fuel themselves with the right kinds of fats, and two, they don't take care of their electrolyte balance. So we're going to get into how to do that today. We're going to get into it very quickly and very simply. It's not going to be like the last video where I'm using all kinds of scientific terms. In this video, we're going to be doing it really, really simply. And I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks that I use to adapt into ketosis quickly, and that I actually also use to keep me within ketosis. So let's get into it. First things first. What types of fats do you want to be using to fuel yourself when you're adapting into ketosis? Well, number one is going to be medium chain triglycerides. Now, medium chain triglycerides are really, really important because they're shorter chain fatty acids. That means that they don't have to go through a lot of breakdown before they get into your bloodstream. They can actually go through the liver really, really quickly. They'll get right into your bloodstream and they'll raise your levels of ketones in your bloodstream. And that allows for a really great source of fuel to get to your brain. So what are some good sources of medium chain triglycerides? Well, one of the primary sources is going to be coconut oil. Now, you can get it in a jar. You can also, this is why my closet's open, you can also go to a place like F-Bomb Nutrition. These guys are really good friends of mine. And they provide like these individual packets of coconut oil and also medium chain triglyceride oil, which I'm going to be talking about in a second. But the reason, well, coconut is very rich in medium chain triglycerides. Coconut oil also has an additional one called lauric acid, and that's why it tends to be really, really solid in there. Lauric acid is actually very, very antimicrobial. I actually rinse my mouth out in the morning with coconut oil. It helps to whiten the teeth, helps to get rid of some of that nasty bacteria. So it's got a lot of lauric acid, so it's not the most pure source of medium chain triglycerides. What you really want when you are adapting into ketosis is to get something called MCT oil, or medium chain triglyceride oil. And basically what that is, it's all the medium chain triglycerides condensed into a very, very liquid oil. It doesn't have the lauric acid in it, so it doesn't become solid or anything like that. And what I would do during, when I'm adapting into ketosis, I'll put it in my coffee or tea in the morning. I'll take a few shots of medium chain triglycerides throughout the day, but most of the fat that I'm consuming is either going to come from MCT oil or coconut oil, and that's because that's going to provide a lot of that really quick source of fuel for my brain while I'm adapting, and it'll allow me to adapt quicker and get into ketosis quicker. The other thing you can do while you are trying to adapt into ketosis is to make sure that you're getting enough calories. And this is a big thing that people make. A lot of people think, oh, I'm eating fat, I'm eating a ketogenic diet, I don't really need to worry about calories. But if you're not eating enough calories, that's not going to give you enough energy throughout the day. You kind of have to worry about if you're getting enough fuel. And most people, they think that like 40 or 50 grams of fat is a lot. You want to be consuming at least probably 100 grams of fat if you're an average sized individual per day, especially while you're adapting into ketosis. Now, the other thing is you want to keep the carbohydrates, the starchy carbs, down very, very low. So that means you want to be under 50 grams of carbohydrate during that initial adaptation phase. So you want to avoid fruits, you want to avoid rice, you want to avoid potatoes, you want to avoid bread, you want to avoid any grains, you want to stay away from any sort of starch that's going to give you an insulin spike that's going to kick you out of ketosis, and you especially want to avoid sugar, which could be a really, really hard thing for a lot of people. So that might be the biggest obstacle here. A few other things you really want to make sure that you're doing. You want to keep your liver in a very, very cleansed state. So a couple of things I would definitely recommend while you are trying to adapt into ketosis. Number one, I'd recommend taking a couple of tablespoons of apple cider vinegar every single morning and before you eat, about 15 minutes before you have a meal. You don't want to do it straight because apple cider vinegar can burn your throat, can burn your sinuses. You want to put it into a glass of water, and what I'll do is I'll put a little squeeze of lemon in there. It tastes just like lemonade. It's absolutely awesome. And I'll also put a little shot of MCT oil into that drink to get myself kicked off. Apple cider vinegar contains acetic acid. This really helps with a lot of different things. Helps with digestion, helps with reducing inflammation, but the biggest benefit is that it helps to drive glucose that's in the bloodstream into the muscles. So it's really great to take right before you're going to take a meal in, to ensure that your blood sugar doesn't get too high or anything like that, and it'll keep your insulin from pumping out while you are trying to adapt into ketosis. So a couple of shots of apple cider vinegar, or a couple of tablespoons of apple cider vinegar a few times a day in a glass of water, a little squeeze of lemon juice. The other thing you really want to be taking care of while you're adapting to ketosis is something that a lot of people don't think about either, and that is your intestinal tract. You really want to make sure that your digestion is on point, because your digestion is what's going to keep you healthy, what's going to help you to reduce inflammation, and all of these things are going to help you to adapt quicker into ketosis. So what do you do for that? The first thing you really want to do is you want to make sure that you are consuming a lot of fiber, non-digestible fiber, particularly from things like celery. I chew on celery all day long, and the fiber from that, it attracts friendly probiotic bacteria. It also helps to reduce your insulin levels, and getting a good non-digestible source of fiber like that is going to really help you become more and more insulin sensitive, which is again going to help you to adapt into ketosis a little bit more quickly. On top of that, I consume a lot of fermented foods. This is raw sauerkraut, and that's also got the fiber that we're talking about, but it's got probiotic bacteria, and it helps to populate the gut with probiotic bacteria. That's again going to help us to become more and more insulin sensitive. Beyond that, we have to be concerned with the electrolytes. So we want to make sure we're consuming a good amount of minerals, and the way you do this is you add some Himalayan salt. So this is a real salt. You can get Himalayan pink salt, you can get sea salt, Celtic sea salt. You want a good natural salt, not an iodized salt, because an iodized salt has had all the minerals stripped out of it, and in turn has had iodine put into it. But this natural salt, that's going to contain all of the really valuable electrolytes that are going to keep you from getting a headache, that are going to really eat into your energy if you're lacking electrolytes or if they're out of balance. Beyond that, you should be also supplementing with magnesium. Magnesium is going to really help you with getting the sleep that you need during this time period, and getting your energy levels up during the day when you wake up. Magnesium is responsible for like 300 different processes around the body, so take about 400 to 500 milligrams of magnesium prior to bed. You also want to get a good source of potassium. Potassium is so valuable in keeping your electrolytes in balance, and you can get that from eating avocados. One more mineral we really need to be concerned with here, and this is particularly for women, that's selenium. Selenium is extremely valuable for you to protect your thyroid. And if you're one of the problems with women when they don't consume carbohydrates, some of their thyroids tend to slow down a little bit. But the big benefit here is that if you're consuming selenium, selenium is going to help to protect that thyroid, and this in turn will also help you to begin burning fat and also begin getting into ketosis. Now, the final supplement I'm going to tell you to take is omega-3s, and you can get this either from fish oil or algae. And you want a high DHA omega-3 fatty acids. This is going to help you to reduce inflammation. It's going to help to protect your brain throughout this thing, and it's going to help you to have lots of energy during the adaptation phase. So this video has been about adapting into ketosis easily, and in the next video we're going to be talking about how to get yourself to maintain the ketogenic diet. And that is going to be where a lot of the most valuable information is going to be. And don't miss that video. Below, I'm going to put our downloadable grocery list. So make sure you scroll down, check out that grocery list. And in our advanced keto course, we've got so many more resources for you guys. So if you're interested, you can check that out too. I'll be back at you tomorrow with another video.